everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews and the latest episode of the Female Film Critics Panel. And it's kind of amazing. This is the 46th episode of Female Film Critics Panel. And today I have with me a content creator, actress. I have Katie Wilson here. And Katie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat about all the things.
Yeah, I'm thrilled because I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. And to be
Aw.
honest, when I sent you the request, I was like, yeah, this is a long shot. She's not going to come on my little show. So I was
No,
thrilled.
I'm just happy that we could make it work because I
Yeah.
know schedules are busy and things keep happening, but I'm glad we can make it work. And
Yeah.
thanks for asking.
Yeah. So since your first time on the show, and you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about kind of how you got started to where you are making, you have a bunch of different things that you're involved in, acting, hosting, different things. How did you get started?
Ooh, good question. I actually got started in theater, doing theater as a
Hmm.
kid. I was a huge fan of the movie Grease,
Okay.
and I was about 12 or 13. And my mom was like, you should try to sing sometime. And I was like, no, mom, I would never want to sing ever. Ew. And then all of a sudden, I got a bee in my bonnet about wanting to go audition for this local children's theater that was putting on Grease. And I think my parents absolutely thought I was gonna completely embarrass myself. But I went, I stood up in front of everyone, I
Yeah.
sang my little song, and I got Patty Simcox. And
Huh.
from there, I just loved doing theater. And
Yeah.
so that was a huge passion of mine.
Hmm.
And then from there, I basically got a job as like a 14-year-old with Radio Disney. I was a singer and a host and a dancer for live events.
Uh-huh.
And that was really fun. And then I moved to LA in 2008 and started just auditioning and
Hmm.
getting hosting stuff, getting acting stuff. And I was getting cast a lot in other people's YouTube videos. And my friends were like, you need a channel because you have people following you. You need to post things.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to post. And I don't even think people are going to like the same things as me.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of back in a weird YouTube time where I was like, come on, like, how am I going to ever find someone that likes Xena Warrior Princess and video games and this? And then now it's like everyone loves all that stuff now. It's like cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just started posting geeky videos, just about all the things that I grew up with and loved. And yeah, kind of just went from there.
Did you grow up in California, or were you when you moved to LA, were you did you move far, or
No, not far, but I grew up in Arizona.
oh,
So
Arizona.
pretty close.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Good. I'm in Utah, so pretty
Oh, nice.
close.
Okay, so you understand the heat.
Yes.
I love Utah. I got to
Yeah.
do a trip to Zion when I was
Oh,
younger,
nice.
and I want to go back so bad. I want to do all the national parks there.
If you ever do, there are so many great local theater houses here. I could definitely, at the very least, give you some tips. There's some
Yes, I would
really
love
fun
that.
ones. Yeah. There's a thriving theater and art scene here in Utah. Yeah, that's really
Wow,
fun. Yeah.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. I after the pandemic, because it was like traumatizing for me when the theaters got closed. I was movie theaters and live theater because that's
Mhm.
just like so important to me. And it like it never occurred to me really that that could happen. Like, I remember when they
Yeah.
first announced the movie theaters are gonna be closed, I was like, 2 weeks, yeah, right. And then when it was like multiple months and a year over a year, I don't know, I just couldn't believe it. It was shocking to me. And so once I got vaccinated, I just said, you know what? I'm going to support local theater as much as I humanly possibly can. And because I'm a freelancer, anything that I do for fun always ends up being, I always turn it into work one way or
Yeah.
another. I don't know if you feel that way.
Definitely feel that way.
Yeah.
The hardest
And
part is to not make it feel like work, but still have fun
yeah.
and not let it turn into like a bad work. It's more of
Yeah.
a fun work.
You don't want it to be like, how can I monetize everything in my life? But at the same time, you, you are excited about it. And so to, you kind of want to monetize it. You want to share it. You want to,
Yeah.
and it's funny that a lot of people were really cringing at the last Godzilla movie. That they had the one guy that like, his whole role was to be a podcaster and like go up like in the middle of there's a Godzilla monster and he's like wanting to interview everybody and
Oh
everything.
my
They were like,
gosh.
that's not no, that is absolutely realistic.
That's 100% real.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not in like, at least in most of the time, it's not in a public kind of wanting the attention kind of way. It sometimes is a narcissistic way, but it's really in a just like, this is so cool, I want to share it kind of way. I think
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, like as a creator, I think I struggle because there's some times where I'm like, I just want to enjoy this experience,
Yeah.
but I so badly want to share it. But
Yeah.
I kind of have to like make deals with myself as to like what's just going to be for me,
Hmm.
and then what I'm going to share.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's so hard.
Yeah. Well, so I was wondering about that with in a way with actors being so limited with what they could share during the strike. Was that kind of an interesting experience because you literally like you couldn't share a lot of the stuff that maybe you wanted to share?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucked in that regard for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Especially because I had a show come out during the
Right.
strike.
Right.
I was like, "Ah, I wish they could have just 1 month earlier."
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that I think that was the biggest bummer, but,
Yeah.
overall, especially even, like, with content, like, there were jobs I lost out on during the strike because I was a SAG member, and so
Yeah.
it really sucked in that way because I had to turn down opportunity. I didn't get other opportunities,
Yeah.
and
I
yeah, so
felt bad for my
really
actor
hard.
friends. I mean, it was necessary, of course, and
Yeah,
support it, but it was tough.
yeah,
Definitely tough.
it was
And
hard on
writer.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and especially because, I think people who don't live in the entertainment world or don't
Mhm.
really keep up with it,
Yeah.
they think about an actor's strike and be like, "Ugh, those narcissistic rich
Right.
people." And it's like, no, the strike was really for the people like me,
Yeah.
the people who book a co-star, guest star here and
Yeah.
there and do a movie randomly. Um, it's
People
not
who don't wanna
about the
be
big
replaced
celebrities.
by an AI.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, still watching my friends, a lot of them really struggle because this is their main
Yeah.
form of income and
Well,
couldn't do
it's
it.
so hard too because as a freelancer, you the momentum is so important and just you'll be writing something and then the slightest thing will kind of change and then it can be so hard to get that back.
Yep. It's so
It can be
true.
so hard. So
It's true, yeah, my friend and I just had a conversation the other day when we were, at coffee, where he was like, "All these companies I had to turn down in the last couple months, I hope they call me again."
yeah.
You just hope that these companies that you work with all the time,
Hmm.
that are maybe entertainment based, you hope that they're not
Yeah.
like you're not off their list, because there were content creators who, unfortunately they were like, we support the strike, but I'm still going to go do all these jobs that you can't do,
Hmm.
because you're going to
Hmm.
face that in
Well,
everything.
it was hard too because there's such a gray area because like podcasts were on the list, but it's like most of the people that wanted to talk to me were Canadian actors. They're not technically in the union, but I don't want to get them in trouble or them to not be able to join SAG someday if they wanted. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hard because you're not dealing with like when you're dealing with a guild of all these different independent contractors. It's hard to make rules that will fit for everybody and that will so there's always exceptions and waivers and that just made it more confusing.
Oh yeah.
And I was pretty proud of myself because we were so used to doing that and so I had done a couple ranking episodes with my friend Terry and they'd gone really well and I felt like we had good chemistry and so I talked to her about it and so we started doing instead of the Monday interviews we'd started doing these ranking episodes like favorite Lifetime movies favorite whatever and to be honest they've done much better than the interviews.
Hey,
So
that's good. I mean, you found
yeah.
something new that
Yeah.
people can enjoy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I was talking with the Anne who does our bookings, and I said, you know what, now let's just talk to the people we want to talk to, like not feel this need to like every movie we got to cover and every that we have a couple of interviews a month. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
So because things are going well with the rankings.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So and that is one thing about creating content is you just have to just kind of be willing to, you have to be malleable. You have to, just have to kind of go where where things take you. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
so true.
it's interesting. So you said on your Twitter you called yourself a geek guru. What do you what do you think? What do you
When
mean by that?
that's a good question. Um, Now I'm trying to think of, like, where I said that. But, it's mostly just because I love geeky things. I love, um, like, video games, and I love movies and
Mhm.
television, and, um, so, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that I made a large part of my career, um, based off of, like, doing nerdy type hosting,
Mhm.
um, and so, yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
where that came from.
Do you think that it is harder to be a geek guru as a female in the space at all?
I think it's harder, just harder female in any
Yeah.
space. But yes, I
Mhm.
think so. Yeah, I mean, there.
Particularly in video game world, it tends to have that sort of that reputation.
Yeah.
Have you found that challenging at all to kind of make your way in that space?
Yes, I feel like I'm pretty lucky. I haven't dealt with. I mean, we all have dealt with like horrible comments and people
Hmm.
not accepting you
Sure.
or whatever. But I would say I'm pretty lucky because there were a lot of really like amazing guys that would collaborate with me, whereas a lot
Hmm.
of times I would reach out to some other women, be like, "Hey, let's collaborate," and it may not
Yeah.
like work out. But in terms of like I don't know, I guess like sexism in gaming, yeah, it's really
Hmm.
it's there. Um it's awful.
Hmm.
But
Do you think it's
yeah,
getting better? I feel like it's getting better.
I feel like it's getting better. I think it's because there's a new generation of people who are basically have grown up watching content their entire life.
Hmm.
Whereas the generation before that didn't maybe had never seen a girl play a video game. And now I feel
Hmm.
like it's so common, it's so regular that
Yeah.
people are used to seeing it. And I think kids are growing
Hmm.
up seeing that. And so it's a
Hmm.
little less one sided,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like we're also just getting more content for women and that, that content that girls are tend to be more interested in. So then they start playing and then they start playing all different kinds of content. So it's almost like you need that sort of gateway, I think a lot of times
Yeah,
to
definitely.
get into interested in the different mediums.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why I kind of stopped playing some of the hardcore first person shooter games. I feel
Mm,
like those kind of I can't, it's not a blanket statement, but there are members within those communities that can be a little
mhm,
bit more nasty toward women
mm,
playing.
mhm,
And there's some really, really amazing like Call of Duty TikTokers that will basically
mhm.
go and talk in chat and then just like record all the horrible things that these guys say to
Yeah,
her. But she makes it into content that she monetizes. And I think that is so genius
yeah,
because you're turning such a horrible or bad situation into your business.
yeah. Yeah, I was like my nieces got super into Animal Crossing,
Yes.
back during the pandemic and everything like that, and then they're, like, getting into games in general, so I think that's helping a lot.
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
tons of games now.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
So you have this tabletop news. How did that come to fruition? It's just started. It's only been a couple months, right?
Yeah, we actually we just launched our fourth episode.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it came to be because Michelle Wynn Bradley, who's another executive producer on it, and Adam Rady, we were having dinner at her house one night, and Adam had said to her, "Hey, I really want to make a show that's fun and entertaining and kind of silly, but also like tells you what's going on in the community," because Twitter was on the decline, and
Mm-hmm.
the only
Mm-hmm.
places that you could really get information were from a few select websites, and they weren't covering indie or BIPOC creators, and there were a lot of really cool things going on in the space that just weren't getting
Mm-hmm.
covered. Um, and we're not journalists or anything, so we weren't looking to do any sort of crazy investigative journalism. But we just wanted to make a fun show that could inform people of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so then Michelle said to him, "Wow, I had the exact same idea," and then they were like, "Let's do it."
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Because it's card games and card trade and card games and board games, right?
It's
Is the
all
main focus
tabletop gaming. So it's
tabletop game?
TTRPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of role-playing games, and then board games and card
Mhm.
games,
Okay.
war games, and then events and the community.
Well, what do you think tabletop games have to offer as opposed to over the video game counterparts or other forms of entertainment?
Oh my gosh. If Dungeons and Dragons or some form of like tabletop role-playing game could be taught in schools, I
Mm-hmm.
think it would help people immensely. We actually just did a really amazing interview with a teacher who uses D&D as an intervention tool and as a tool to educate his students. And um, what I found so fascinating listening to him is like actually breaking down all of the things that D&D offers, or even just role-playing games offer for a person. It's socialization skills, it's
Mm-hmm.
math, it's problem solving and puzzles,
Mm-hmm.
and it's communication, and it's fun. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the most perfect tools for people, especially like even people who really just don't like games or don't
Mm-hmm.
like role playing. It maybe seems a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's truly such a fun, safe environment
Mm-hmm.
that that I think can really, really help people.
Yeah, we were big into games, board games, growing up in my family, and I think it does teach a certain degree of like competition and
Yeah.
game theory and how to how to strategize, but in like a fun way that doesn't really hurt anybody. I think you
Yeah.
learn a lot about like business and how to make deals and just all that stuff, like little things that you learn about when you play games.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also like some people probably don't believe in this, but I think that kids need to learn how to lose.
Yeah, yeah,
Because and I
absolutely.
think games are such a fun way to kind of teach some normal human skills,
Mhm.
as well as like, you know, I'm watching this documentary. Sorry, I'm going on a little tangent, but I'm watching this documentary that basically says loneliness can shave off like 15 years of your life.
Yeah.
So getting together with a group of people to do an activity actually like helps
Mhm.
longevity in your life. So I
Yeah.
think that's why board games and tabletop games are so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think a whole study that the National Health Institute did that we have an epidemic of loneliness
Yeah.
in our country, and that was one thing I kind of struggled with during the pandemic was that yes, we need to be safe as far as from COVID and everything, and everybody was just kind of figuring it out and trying their best, and I get that, but also like I felt like sometimes that factor of like emotional health and mental health wasn't sort of taken into the equation.
Hmm.
That sometimes the worst thing that we could be doing for our health is not taking the risk of going out and being with people.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a tricky thing, but it's definitely. I thought, I work from home. I'm really independent. I thought, oh, it's not gonna be that hard. It was really hard, and I hated it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I remember I we would put together virtual
Yeah.
hangouts, and luckily, virtual tabletops exist. So we would play games together, but
Mhm.
virtually, but still there's like
Yeah.
that missing factor.
Yeah, like, I've never been a big hugger, but after a while, I was like, "I really miss hugs." I miss
Yeah. Yeah. I remember saying the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, I just really miss hugging my friends, because even when we got to a point where we'd like test and not go
Mhm.
anywhere, and then we'd do like
Yeah.
outdoor parties where we were sitting like
Right.
so far from each other having to shout.
6 feet.
And I remember just saying like, I wish I could hug you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that big of a hugger either,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah,
true.
it's one of those things where you don't maybe like physical contact until you
So
can't do
you
it.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
when someone tells you you can't do something, then all of a sudden you want to for no reason.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah.
Well, do you have favorite games, like just traditional board games that you like to play?
I say this so often. People are probably so bored of me saying the same games over and over again, but I love Boss Monster. That's one of
No.
my favorite games right now. I also really like Munchkin,
I haven't
only
heard of
because
this.
I'm newer to Munchkin. Uh,
Okay.
and then as far as we talk about like classics, I really still enjoy playing Life.
Uh-huh.
And Monopoly is always fun. I don't know why people are always like, I don't want to play Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's so long. I'm
Yeah.
like, you literally sit and do 4 hours of D&D and you don't want to play a 2 hour game of
Yeah.
Monopoly.
The thing about Monopoly is whoever gets Park Place and Boardwalk wins the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible
Yeah.
to win if you don't have those
You can have all the
two.
railroads. I've seen someone win without those before,
It's
but
very, very
it
difficult.
is rare.
But yeah, you know what? You want to watch something really interesting. The on PBS last year, they had if you just look up PBS Monopoly documentary, they had
Ooh.
this amazing documentary about, and someday they're gonna make a movie about this guy. And he made a board game called the Anti-Monopoly Monopoly. And it was like a parody game kind of Monopoly. And what is that? I can't remember. It's Milton Bradley or Park, whoever owns Monopoly sued him, then and got those all destroyed. And he took it all the way to the Supreme Court. And I just thought that it was such a great story. I mean, like the Monopoly guy is suing the Monopoly guys for suing the Monopoly. Like it just, and he literally handed his complaint or whatever in person at the Supreme Court. He went up to the, like, I didn't even know you could do that, but evidently you can. You can just walk up and be like, I have filed this complaint and submit it. And they took it and he won. And
What?
yeah, it was so entertaining. It was really a good documentary. I highly recommend.
I'm going to keep note of that. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Hey, this is Jen Johans, host of the podcast Watch with Jen, which delivers a steady stream of great movie recommendations, thoughtful career deep dives, and first-rate conversations with film critics, authors, actors, journalists, filmmakers, and more. You can find Watch with Jen wherever you get your podcasts or hear us first at our Patreon at patreon.com/filmintuition.
Those are fun, especially if you get a game, like if you've had like a blizzard, there's like some snow days, set up a Monopoly or Risk or something
I
like
wouldn't know
that.
anything about snow days, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But we had like excessive heat days, or if the AC broke in my school, we'd have the day off.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love the card game called Pit.
Ooh,
I
what's
don't know
that?
if you've ever, it's really fun. It's supposed to be sort of mimicking the stock market. You need more than 4 people. That's the only downside. So you have to have a group. But it's great it's great for people. If people listening to this are getting ready for Thanksgiving, get a set of Pit. It's just a small card game, really cheap. And it's great for that kind of thing where you want people to get you want them to relax and just have fun. It's because what you have to do, you know how when you see people at the stock exchange, they're like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, and they're like yelling. Well, that's what they're trying to sort of emulate in the game. And so there's all these different, there's like corn, wheat, different things, and you're trying to get a full set, right? And so you hold up your hand and you say two, 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 whatever it is. and then other person, no, 2, 2. And so then you're swapping back and forth, back and forth. And then once you get a whole set, then you hit the table and you say, corner on the market. And
Gosh, I've never heard of this.
it's really fun because everybody is screaming. And I tend to find that those are the most fun games.
Yeah. Have you played Anomia?
No.
You would like, if you like yelling games,
Yeah.
you should play Anomia. None of my friends will play it because none of my friends like the yelling games.
Oh, really?
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But it's a card game and it's very,
Yeah.
very fast paced. So
Yeah, it's really fun. I also I really enjoy like Apples to Apples, and that one's fun. Games like that.
yeah.
I mean, we played a lot of Boggle and a lot of Scrabble.
Yep.
In our family. We always had
Classics.
fun with that. My grandma was a big bingo fan.
Ooh.
Yeah, she would set it up and she would have her roll of quarters. And that
Yep.
was the big prize. We'd get a couple quarters, and
Yep.
it was exciting. We'd have our little M&Ms.
Oh.
So that's some good memories. It's just fun when you can get people to stop arguing, stop talking about politics, just play a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what I always fight for at all the family gatherings. So I've just recently gotten my family into the card game 13.
Uh-huh.
It's
I've heard of
really,
that one.
really
Yeah.
simple game. You just gotta make pairs and or not pairs. It's I won't explain it well, but now my family plays it and they all get together and have like a weekly card game night. And I
Mhm.
think that's really cool.
It's so fun when you can play like Ticket to Ride. I mean, just
Yeah.
these like classic games.
Ticket to Ride is fun.
It's the best. Categories, that's a favorite. That one's really fun.
Yep,
I love
that's a good one.
games. Yeah.
I really like trivia based games too.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at them, but I think there's that part of me that's like, maybe I'll get one right and feel really proud of myself.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that too. But sometimes they're
fun.
so obscure. I'm like, who knows that? No one knows that.
Yeah, I was playing one the other day
The
and there was
Pursuit.
some absurd question. Yeah, I can't do like the Trivial Pursuit games because those questions are really hard. But usually the ones that have a little bit of pop culture mixed with like
Mhm.
science and other
Yeah.
crazy things, then it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why like the Cranium games are fun because it's kind of a mixture of everything. You got your Pictionary in there. You've got your word games, and so that one's fun. I love games. We could have the whole episode just about games. I think it's really fun because it's my family. It's hard sometimes because my family, we have a like all different ages. Because we sort of joke that they burnt the first batch, and so then my parents started again. There's 3 older kids and 3 much younger kids, and it's hard to find things that we all can enjoy and do together. And so when you have like some of these games like Pit that pretty much anybody can play, that, and then nieces can join in, anybody can play. It's fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what games are about,
Yeah.
And just doing something together. That's kind of what our society is lacking in so many different areas. It's that togetherness. So anytime you can bring people together to do something fun is always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, so you're a big TV fan, watch a lot of TV series. Did you have any big epic binges during the strike?
Yes, so many. I'm obsessed with Gen V right now.
Okay.
Which is like the spin-off series from The Boys. And I highly recommend that if you watch The Boys, you need to watch Gen V because they go together. Yeah. They are it is not a spin-off that you can miss, I guess. You should watch it. It's fantastic.
I've seen the first season, but it's just so hard with all the movies and TV movies that I have to cover.
Yeah.
My TV series time is extremely limited.
And then I just finished the last this past season of Upload. It just came out.
Oh, I heard that was good.
It was fun. I liked it better than the second season.
Okay.
So that one was good. What else did I watch?
Tell you the Hidden Gem show we covered on Hallmarkies podcast, but it deserves to be as big a hit as Downton Abbey. But it's so good. It's called All Creatures Great and Small.
Yes, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it though.
It's so good. And it's only 6 episodes a season, and they're just starting the 4th season over there in the UK. So it's super fast binge. And it is the best show on television.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
guess
I
gotta
don't watch
it.
very many shows, but I feel confident nevertheless. It's so good.
Hey, honestly, your confidence, that's all I needed. So I'll check it out. I love television.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so
yeah,
good.
I also started, this is not a new show, but I just started The Serpent Queen, and I only watched the first episode and I was like hooked.
Yeah. You know what was also really good? This last year on Hallmark Channel, they had a show called The Way Home.
Oh.
And it was very good. They only had the 1 season, so again, pretty quick little binge. It's a sci-fi tinged story about it's a grandma, a mother, and a daughter, the teenage granddaughter. They find out, they discover they have this time traveling pond in their backyard. It's like the TARDIS in their backyard, but they don't have any control of where the pond takes them. It just takes them, and for most of the season, the pond takes them to 1999. And in 1999, there was a family tragedy that occurred, and so then they start kind of the teenage girl in particular starts sort of looking into what happened, and so of course things are getting crossed and things are happening, and it's very well done, very well written, very engaging. It's on Peacock. If you don't get Hallmark,
Cool.
it's really good.
I'll check that out. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was very good. And yeah, most of what I cover as far as television, I mean, I cover Heartland, which is on it's on Up TV here in the States, but it's super popular in Canada. And I'd thought about covering, because there's a lot of crossover between Heartland and Hallmark, but they're just starting in Canada now, their 17th season.
Holy.
And and so it's like super overwhelming to think of covering it. But my friend Michelle, she's actually over in Scotland, I approached her during the pandemic. I was like, what do you think? Do you want to try to do this? And so it took us 2.5 years every week covering, with a break for Christmas. It took us 2.5 years every week covering 3 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
To get to the couch.
Oh my gosh.
And I told her, I said, you didn't realize that you were making a lifetime commitment.
Yeah, seriously. What if it never ends? You guys are committed now forever. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow.
It's a good show though. I mean, it's about this girl, Amy Fleming, starts when she's a teenager, obviously, and she's like the horse whisperer, basically.
Oh, cool.
So if you like animals and you like kind of family drama and sweet stories and everything, then you'd enjoy it. But yeah, so that's fun. I'm so excited. Season 3 of Hilda is coming out in December, and I absolutely love that show. And I didn't know if we were going to get a season 3 because it's been we got a movie last year. They had a Hilda and the Mountain King movie, which felt like, oh, is this the end? This the conclusion? So the fact that we get season 3. So if you haven't seen Hilda, it is so good.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
Okay.
Yeah. And I bet you've seen, because it's based on a game. Have you seen Arcane? Did you watch that first season?
I didn't watch that. No, I know I need to. Everyone says it's so good.
It's so good. They're killing me. We have to wait until way next year to get season 2.
Yeah, I heard amazing things. I do want to watch it.
So good. And then I'm also Team Bridgerton Hive.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I watched the first season, but I haven't had a chance
spicy,
to watch the next
but
one.
And I read all of the books, so I know like
Oh.
where because this next season, I didn't love this little spin-off thing that they did with Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. But this new one, and it's just killing me that it's in December, because there's no way I can cover it. Like no way.
Too much to do.
Yeah, I have like 200 Christmas movies I have to cover. I can't cover it, but maybe in January when things calm down, I could cover it. But I'm really excited about it because Penelope's book is a fun book. And yeah. So
we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store. Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
I mean, they changed it quite a bit from particularly for her character, and the whole lady, the whole way they handled her reveal and everything is very different than in the.
Interesting.
Yeah, I won't spoil it if you only seen season one.
Don't tell me.
No, but I love Nicola Coughlan. She's so good. If you want a really funny series, it's pretty raunchy, but super hilarious, is The Dairy Girls.
The Dairy Girls?
Dairy Girls. Yeah. 3
Sounds
seasons.
familiar.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just like queen British television. It's like
I
all
love it.
stuff that I like. But it was hilarious show about these teens in Ireland. Really funny in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
And she's in it. She's just the best.
That's
So I
awesome.
love her, and so I'm really excited for her. And like typically you don't see a body positivity casting in a lead role in a romantic series. So I'm excited for that too. You know, just somebody a little bit different to be
Yes.
leading a season like that.
No, I think that's awesome. I need to
Mhm.
catch up. Oh, there's so much to
Yeah.
watch.
There really
No
is.
time.
I was just talking about that the other day, that I swear a day doesn't go by where somebody doesn't tell me, you got to watch the show. It's amazing. And
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I
Yeah.
think I remember having a conversation with a friend recently that even if you wanted to watch every single thing on that you could stream, you
Yeah.
would never in your lifetime be
No.
able to.
Even I don't think that you could like even just one of the streaming services. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's possible to watch everything on just Netflix or just Disney Plus or whatever.
I don't think so.
I mean, that's the thing with the cause the person when I was talking with the person, we were talking about the Marvels, and I'd only seen the first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, because I just don't have time. I don't have time to watch the Disney Plus series. And so Marvel really lost me there, because I was in, and pretty much after Loki season 1, I just didn't have time. I
Yep.
was too busy. And so I went, and it was the first time that I had been to a Marvel movie where I really felt like, oh, this is homework. I have no idea what's going on. Like,
Oh,
what is
wow.
happening with the Sun and with Captain Marvel and with I was just super confused almost the whole time.
I think
And
that's what a lot
and
of people are saying, that it
people,
relied too heavily on
yeah.
past
And
knowledge.
people were like, well, I don't think it's unreasonable for them to expect you to have watched Miss Marvel. And I'm like, okay, then what it basically has become is one of these like anime movies, where it's like, if you haven't watched the show, you will have no idea what's going on, which is
Yeah.
fine. Like, if that's what they want to make, but that's not what it has been up until this point.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And I kind of I felt that way about the Multiverse of Madness one, about the Doctor Strange 2. I was like, whoa, that's kind of required homework. But I
Yeah.
gave it a little bit of a pass because WandaVision was the first one, and because it was so heavily influenced by the pandemic, I just felt like almost everybody did watch that one.
Yeah.
So I gave it a
loved
little bit more of a
WandaVision.
pass. Yeah. Then like, not everybody's watched Miss Marvel.
I haven't.
No. Yeah. So it's, I don't know, it's a challenge, but yeah. So you would created content, done reviews, other things like that. And but now you're, kind of working as an actress. Is it hard to like sort of balance all these different roles and all these different things that you're doing? You're hosting everything.
Yeah, I would say so, but I feel like I thrive in kind of like a creative frenzy like that, because I
Mhm.
do get a little bored if I'm only doing the same
Yeah.
type of thing over and over
I'm the
again.
same.
So I don't mind it. I kind of
Mhm.
like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be challenging at times.
Yeah. The first time I think I saw you was actually on one of Andre's
Oh, really?
videos.
How funny.
Yeah, like and so how did you said that you had worked on other people's videos. Is that how you kind of make connections?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of getting, well, Andre didn't hire me. I was friends with him, or I met him
Mhm.
somewhere, and he was like, "Hey, I need a Princess Peach. Want to come to want to come to my apartment and film this thing where you're going to be Princess Peach, but when you're a struggling artist and you're like 18 years old, you're like, "Yeah, whatever you need."
Yeah,
But
sure.
but I'm happy I did, cuz he's my best
Yeah.
friend to this day. Um and yeah, I've done countless videos
Cool.
with him now. But yeah, the first one was me as Princess Peach
Yeah.
dancing in his apartment hallway or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's thinking that looks fun to make a YouTube channel? That would be a fun little hobby to have. What advice would you give to somebody that's like diving into the world of content creation?
Don't. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Okay. I love this question because it is the easiest thing you can do to be successful. Respond to people.
Mm,
Answer your emails
mhm.
and respond to people.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea. It is so much easier for me to email a celebrity and get a response back from a huge movie star than an influencer or a YouTube creator. And I don't
Isn't that
know
interesting?
why. I don't
Yeah.
know why that is. But I've experienced that even just helping out with like tabletop news stuff, and
Mhm.
we're trying to get interviews, and I'm like, I threw together the entire voice cast of Baldur's Gate 3, and yet I can't get random influencer person to email me back. So it's so weird.
Yeah.
So
It
if
is
you
true.
want to make it,
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Like we were able to get Amy Acker and Katie Sackhoff on Hallmark's podcast because they were in Hallmark movies, and yet then other people that we haven't been able to get, which is fine. Like if they don't want to be on the podcast, that's fine. But it is funny that you
yeah.
think like, oh, we're not gonna be able to get these big name people. Fran Drescher came on the podcast,
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the craziest thing. I remember when I was hosting a show called Kingdom Geek, we got pitched someone from a Resident Evil movie, and we were like, yeah, anyone would be great. And then I remember the phone call where the studio called our booking agent and was like, "Hey, we're really sorry. We can't get you this person, but any chance you guys would be okay with Mila Jovovich?" I'm like, "You mean the star of the movie? What are you talking about?" Yes. So weird. But yeah,
Yeah.
biggest piece of advice, going not, off my tangent. Respond to people
Yeah.
and be
Well,
nice to everybody.
yeah, I think that would be nice. I think that's great advice because especially like enjoy the benefits of being small when you're small. Because
Yes.
you're so often you're sort of looking for like, why can't I be as successful as so and so? And it can be frustrating. You put out something you think is quality content, and then you see these trolls and these horrible people like getting tons, and it can get discouraging. But I think enjoy the benefits of being small, of the fact that you can make friends with commenters. You can't do that when
Yeah.
you're big. You can interact with people. You can build a community. It's so much harder to do that. Not that I'm like super big or anything, but it is way harder. And people kind of look at you for it becomes sometimes those relationships can become transactional
Yeah.
when you're bigger. And when you're small, it's just like you and your friends having fun. And
Yeah.
so enjoy it.
Yeah, and I feel like when I started out in YouTube, it was a lot harder for people. Like it was harder to get a group of people together that would want to collab and work together
Mhm.
on something. I think
Yeah.
at that time it was a whole lot of like, well, this is my thing, and
Yeah.
so I'm not interested in uplifting anyone around me. And I've always been the type of person that's like, I don't want to be successful for me. I want to be successful so I can give work to all my friends and
Yeah.
work with them, and I don't care about being at the top. I just want to do cool things with my friends.
Yeah.
And
I
that's what
just
I
want to
kind of love.
avoid I just want to avoid. I worked in an office for 3 years. It was the worst 3 years of my life, and I vowed I would never do that again. And so
Yep.
I'm just like, I don't care if I have to work 24/7. If whatever I have to do to hustle, if I avoid what I call cubicle hell for the rest of my life.
Yes. And that's a great motivator.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And I just find that I think creators today are they're a little lucky in some ways, and then it's a little bit harder in other ways, but there's so
Yeah.
many new avenues of creating content, like
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Back in like 2008, that wasn't really something people did.
Yeah.
Or TikTok, making short
Mhm.
form content. And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of really
Yeah.
cool mediums,
And
and people are working together, which is
yeah, and there's
awesome.
more than one way to be successful. Like
Yeah.
my friend Chris Durbin, his channel never really took off that much, but he got noticed by the creators of The Chosen because he was recapping them because he liked the show. And
Yeah.
now he like works for them.
Yes.
And where it's, and like me with the podcast, that I started out just doing the YouTube channel and the blog, and it kind of morphed into this podcast that's been fairly successful, and it keeps growing. I mean, just there's lots of different ways. It's not just like you have to get 1 million subscribers, to
Right.
be successful. And it can just be this like fun, cool thing in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a way to, even if the only thing that I got out of making content was like learning Photoshop skills,
Yes.
learning
Edit.
editing skills, learning how to interview somebody, learning how to do research, and all that stuff is stuff that I can then use in my career for all kinds of things.
It's a really wonderful skill to teach yourself
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
And I would also say to anyone who wants to be a creator, make content that you want to make.
Yes.
Don't try to make what's popular,
Right.
because you could try that, but so's everyone else. And
Yep.
you got to do what's special to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, we like to end with some fun, get to know you questions. We got the
Ooh.
holiday edition here because Thanksgiving's coming up. First question: what is your favorite holiday drink?
Okay, I'm gonna go with one that I just had yesterday for the first time. It was called an apple spark. It was apple cider with Prosecco in it.
Oh, okay, good.
It was really good.
Yeah. What is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Oh, I'm basic and boring. Chocolate chip cookies. Yep.
Sounds good, especially hot, and you
Yes.
cook them just under, so they're
Just
a little
under.
bit. Yeah.
Yep.
You got it. Okay. What is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Oh gosh. My favorite Christmas song is a Celine Dion song. I guess if you want to go with popular Christmas songs, probably Oh Holy Night. But my favorite song is called now I'm blanking.
You said Celine
The
Dion?
Magic of Christmas Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Okay, good. What is your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Year Without a Santa Claus.
Okay, good. Okay, which do you like better, Scrooge or the Grinch?
Ooh. Oh gosh, that's hard. I want to say the Grinch, but I don't really like the Grinch all that much.
Figured
I'll
they're
go with the
both
Grinch.
characters who hate Christmas, who come around.
I like Scrooge just because I like his story.
Mhm.
But the Grinch is so fun too. I don't know, both.
All right, which do you like better, clear lights or colored?
Clear lights.
Okay. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Man, but both would be awesome.
Okay.
Snow in general.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a good gift wrapper or not?
Not even a little bit, no matter how hard I try. I cannot get it. Nope. It's just tape everywhere. You're going to see it. I'm terrible. What about you? Are you a good rapper?
If I really try, then I can be, but I usually do it just good enough because I'm so.
I'm not at that stage in my rapping life that I'm putting everything in bags yet.
Yeah.
I'm still attempting to rap, but bags are soon.
I'm a big fan of the stick-on bow.
Yeah.
You just wrap it and then stick on bow. It looks great.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
I do, and I should have
Yeah.
worn it. Had I known you were going to wear your Christmas
I know
gear,
I should have given you the
I would have
clue.
worn my ugly. I made a whole song called "Ugly Christmas Sweater"
Oh, you did?
on YouTube. Yeah, if you search "Ugly Christmas Sweater song," it'll be the first thing that pops up.
Oh, I'll check that out.
I love ugly Christmas sweaters. I love
Mhm.
Christmas pajamas. I like the matching sets. I love it.
We got to get you on Hallmark's podcast one of these
Yes,
days.
I
Watch
would
a
love
Hallmark
that.
movie. That'd be
Heck,
fun.
yes, I love Hallmark movies. Let's do it.
All right, it's a deal. Well, thank you so much. This was a blast. I had such a great time talking with you, and thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah.
I could stay for another hour.
Yeah, I know, really good. I gotta go watch Maestro.
Oh gosh, yeah,
Tonight.
you better.
Yeah.
You got too much to
Oof.
watch. You better get to it.
Oh my gosh, it is so stressful. There is literally a screening almost every single night in the next for the all of last week. There was only one day where there wasn't a screening. Even on Sunday, there was a screening.
Oh my gosh.
But it's fun. It's a happy problem to have too many movie screenings to go to.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah. So if people want to follow you on your social media, all that stuff, how do they do that?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Katie Wilson Pics, YouTube, Legend of Katie, Twitter, I'm the Katie Wilson. Or you could just Google my name and you'll find something. I hate that
Great.
everything has to be so different.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that all in the description. Yeah, I'll
Thank
check out
you.
Katie. And it was so great to meet you.
You
And I hope you
too.
have a very, very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
You can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure that if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really, really, really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group, which is a lot of fun. And we have the merch store. You can hashtag Animation Junkie shirts. So check that out. We got some new designs, a lot of new Christmas designs. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.